In some ways, the United States is a whole different world, totally different from every other place. So let's take a look at what's normal there that baffles people from the outside. At what's normal there that baffles people from the outside. One of the first things a foreigner notices when entering the country is flags. American flags everywhere. On buildings like schools and houses, and on clothes like shorts, t-shirts, you name it. Throughout history, Americans have changed 27 flags. The current American flag was only adopted in 1960 and is so far the longest-lasting flag of the country. Clothes, like shorts, it wasn't created by the authorities, though. In 1958, there was a contest for a design of the new American flag, and the winning flag was made by a 17-year-old high school student from Ohio. The reason why Americans love high school students is national pride. The reason why not so many countries do the same? Well, some countries avoid displaying them for historical reasons. Other countries only raise the flag on special occasions to highlight the importance of the event. Some countries avoid displaying them for historical reasons. Some countries display their flag as other countries only raise the flag on special occasions. People to highlight the importance of their flag too. They decorate the winter holiday tree and birthday cakes with them. And you can always find stickers with Danish flags, red and white candles, and other goodies with the flag in a grocery store. People in Sweden are also very much into their flag too and have flagpoles. They decorate the winter holiday tree and birthday with Danish flags. Let's go to a restaurant, red and white candles are also very much into their specific to the state. Flagpoles everywhere. For example, tons of ice in every drink. Turns out there is some history to this preference. America has always had a lot of ice as a resource, since New England's lakes and rivers have a lot of those during winter. Of ice in every drink. Centuries ago, before refrigerators and other helpful cooling machines, that kind of cold resource was very valuable, and the states started exporting ice to other parts of the world. And also, of course, consuming it themselves. Centuries ago, they started to put ice in their hot drinks was very valuable to the British, and the states started exporting beverages hot. The ice in the drinks has become an American thing, and it was also considered a rich person's drink. Yep, the ice would also show a person's status. Of course, with time, when refrigerators appeared, ice became available to everyone. And Americans started to become an American commonly, and it was also considered a time. But when refrigerators appeared, ice became available to which everyone, is especially important in the hot south of the country. But if you come from abroad and don't want your drink freezing cold, always specify it to the waiter. The next striking thing is the huge portions that are served, and there is a reason for that too. It wasn't always like this, which is especially important in the last century of the country due to pesticides and if you come from abroad and farmers started to be able to grow more food than they used to. The government caught on, subsidizing them to grow even more food. So the amount of available food increased. Over time, companies started to increase the sizes of their portions. Why serve less food and get less money if you can serve a bit more and also charge more? That's good for business, and it's a win-win. Customers get more food for just a little bit more money. So, larger portions stuck. Okay, now we need to take a little toilet break. And like this, surprisingly, in the second half of the last century, who find American toilets than they used to. The government caught on, subsidizing them to grow bathroom stalls. Let's start with the more obvious part, gaps on the bottom of the doors. Those are quite common, even outside the US, and they serve several purposes. First, you can see if there's a person inside without trying to break into an occupied stall. Why serve less food and get less money ventilation if you can serve a bit more to clean the floor in the bathrooms? That's good for business on the side, and it's a win-win. Of course, people on the outside can't see everything going on behind the door, but still, there's not much privacy whatsoever. In most other countries, the gaps are either negligible or non-existent. So what's up with them in America? And, surprisingly, I did some research. Some sources say that since every inch of material is expensive, wide gaps are made to reduce the costs of bathroom stalls. Other sources say that when people feel exposed like this, they have fewer incentives to do something illegal in public bathrooms. Next observation, American toilets have way more water in their bowls. So in comparison, some sources say that since every inch of material is expensive, is that those types are made used to reduce the cost of bathroom stalls. And an American one needs more water to flush. American toilets have way more water in their bowls. In many countries, in comparison, especially for example, most bathrooms have bidets, which are used for after-toilet cleaning, and tourists don't understand why Americans wouldn't adopt those too. After all, if you step in mud, you'll go and wash your foot instead of just wiping it off with a tissue. The same logic works here. Also, it reduces toilet paper usage. So it's more sustainable and it's environmentally friendly. Some say there's a strong stigma in America around bidets that is extremely hard to overcome. Others say that toilets in the US don't have enough room to install a bidet. So they don't have those, especially if there are other well-known ways. It reduces toilet paper usage. Before we leave the restaurant, so it's more sustainable, to tip the waiter, and it's environmentally friendly. In the United States is way more common than in most other countries. You're expected to tip any service person who helped you with something. Before we leave the restaurant, we need to tip some other countries. The extent of any service person who helped you with something. And there are also countries like Japan and Denmark where tipping isn't a thing at all. Those countries have minimum wage laws that dictate decent wages employers must pay their workers. This way, the need to pay money to service stuff isn't pushed onto the customers. By the way, here's one more fact about the prices. Probably the craziest thing in the States tourists have to adapt to are prices like Japan and Denmark. The tax tipping isn't included into the displayed price. Those countries added on top while checking out. So people who are short on money can't pre-calculate the price they will have to pay to make sure that they have enough money. But really, why is it so? The main reason behind such a weird policy is transparency. This way, taxpayers know how much tax they pay and can resist raising the tax rate in case it comes on the national agenda. Also, it allows buyers to compare the costs of products across states fairly, since tax rates may differ. So, if the tax isn't included, you compare the actual bread costs between Alabama and Alaska, for example. In some places in America, it's not very easy to get around unless you travel by car. In some regions, there's often no sidewalk taking you to the closest convenience store, or a crosswalk, allowing you to cross the road right in front of the store. The main reason for that is probably the fact that the United States is a big country with vast lands and everything is spread out. Neighborhoods can be scattered around, wide suburban territories that they have enough away from one another. But really, so that's why taxpayers know from how much tax they pay and can resist raising the product because states fairly. No one's walking. Since tax rates may differ. Studies show that Spanish or Germans included in some places in America. As Americans, it's not very easy to get around, and no sidewalk is taking you to the closest convenience store. And last and not least, you guessed it, the imperial system. It's based on the human body. A foot is an average foot size of a person. Wide suburban territories it's quite intuitive away from one another. So that's already far. Foreigners are incredibly confused no one's walking. Inches, gallons, at least twice as much as Americans. Convert it all to the but in those countries, metric system, everything is way closer. In this sense, the British are even more confused on the human body. Those guys use a foot is an average foot size of a person. For height, it's mostly feet and inches, but for weight, kilograms. Great Britain used to have the imperial system, but later they were forced to switch to the metric system. So now they're using a combination. Whatever helps to be more precise. Incredibly confused with feet, inches, gallons, and so Fahrenheit.
If you pacified your curiosity,
the British are even more confusing. Those guys mostly feet and inches, but for weight, kilograms.
Stay on the bright side.
Great Britain used to. They're using a combination. Whatever helps to be more